Hello all, CA Inter January 25 students. I hope you guys are doing well and your studies are going in full swing. So last few days before your CA Inter exam start, and I know there would be a bit of nervous excitement. Sir, forget excitement, we are nervous, but that's fine. Let's get into the groove and prepare for our CA Inter paper number 1, advanced accounting. So in today's video, we will be sharing an important study strategy and a study plan for the last 4, maybe 4.5 days and a few important tips. So let us get started. Now over here, because it is your paper 1, I would strongly recommend that you give 4 to 4.5 days for this paper at least. And while we do this paper, how will we prepare for this? Well, there are different possibilities. I have given the possibility which based on our experience and what most students do prefer, but again you can always customize this to your best understanding. Now what we will do is we will split every day between accounting standards and between the bigger topics. Now you don't want all AS to be done at one go, because psychologically there will be 20, 25, 30 ASs to be done, or all the big topics remaining as well. So let us kind of split the two. When we split the two, on an average there are around 5 or 6 big topics and there are around 22 odd accounting standards. There are 29, yes, but a couple of standards are not there, and then there is cash flow, amalgamation, consolidation standards which will be done with the respective topics. So if you look at around 20 to 22 standards on an average, you should do at least 4 to 5 standards a day. The bigger standards we will do at the beginning, maybe dedicate 1 to 1.5 hours max for each standard. And the smaller standards, which you can kind of flip through relatively faster, we will keep at the end. Okay, so as we see in the beginning, we have started with all the asset link standards. Over here there is PP, AS10, intangibles, borrowing cost, impairment, as well as government grants. So these are standards which are largely linked to assets, form one common group, and hence there is a good logical link. So this is on an average 1 hour per standard and you should get done in 5 hours. Next you go on to the bigger topics, where you will go with the preparation of financial statements topic, where you will kind of clearly note the schedule 3 presentation, because that will come in other chapters as well. And in cash flow, special emphasis on the indirect method of cash flow preparation that you will do. Cash flow will be around 3 hours. I want you to prepare 1 full cash flow statement on your own. Others you can read and practice or solve when your calculator is in rough, but 1 on your own, and 1 schedule 3 balance sheet from preparation of financial statements on your own. This is something that you have to do. Next, once you are in the groove, you go to other asset link standards, which is inventories, investments, which should be done before, let us say, consolidation for sure, and then leases. Now these would take maybe a little more time, maybe an hour or slightly more than an hour, and then the 2 revenue link standards of contract costing as well as revenue, AS9. On an average, again, every standard will take around an hour, and 5 hours you should get done. Next, you will go to internal reconstruction and amalgamation. Depending on the time that you have between day 1 and day 2, you can kind of plan internal reconstruction on the first day or on the second day. Most likely it will go on the second day. And at the same time, you will do amalgamation. Now, amalgamation is a little more bigger topic, so we have a comfortable 4 to 5 hours. And again over here, 1 question on internal reco, 1 question on amalgamation to be done as if it is done in the exam format, so that you know how to present. Other questions you will go through, specifically looking at the adjustments, specifically doing the important questions. Then you go to day 3. In your day 3, now that amalgamation is done, you will go to consolidation, but along with that, a few other important standards. By now, you are in proper groove to study, and this is a point where we will do the other important standards, that is foreign exchange, which needs to be done before branch. Then there is EPS. Then there is AS22 on deferred taxes and AS15. Sir, we have left that. No, please don't. Please kind of cover that up. The questions that come are fairly standardized, and hence if you have done that, if you have not done that at all, don't touch it at this point. If you have done it, might as well brush up on and do that. We have a revision video also for the entire AS15, etc. and a lot of other standards. You can refer that on the playlist, which will be helpful. So I'll share the playlist on the link in the description as well. You can go there. A lot of accounting standards and important topics, revision videos would be there. Then you go to consolidation. When you look at consolidation over here, it will also include associates and joint ventures. Maybe around 4 odd hours, 4 to 5 hours for consolidation of subsidiaries, and roughly an hour each for associates and joint ventures. You can complete both of them, I believe, in around 1.5 hours. But let us say associates came indirectly in one of the September 24 bigger questions. So maybe people can predict joint ventures, but we will not go into that. Let us say we'll prepare everything because it is paper one. We don't want to shortlist. We will do everything. Okay, so consolidation and joint venture, and then for day 4 you will see a lot of other standards, but you don't really have to get bogged down by that, because most of these standards you can easily complete in around half an hour. And the reason why I've deliberately kept it at around the last or the second last day is, if you do all of this at the beginning, something like an AS1, AS4, AS5, you will spend a lot of time unnecessarily in these smaller standards doing unnecessary details. But when the pressure is high, you know how well you perform, and hence might as well you can knock off most of these standards. Maybe segment, related parties, discontinuing operations. I think 23 is something which is already covered. So this is, let's say, related parties, interim financial reporting, provisions and contingencies. There's also a chapter on framework of reporting where you have this capital maintenance concept, which is important, and in introduction to accounting standards, what is level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, as well as what is SMC and non-SMC. That is something that you should be aware of. On an average, each of these would take around half an hour. And then there is branch accounting and buyback. Buyback is relatively manageable. There are just 2 types of questions that will come in buyback. One is where you have to pass the journal entries and prepare the balance sheet. And second, the more important one, where you have to find the maximum permissible amount that you can buy back. Just ensure that you practice that properly. And then at the end, you have the exam day, which I would say is like the buffer day. Now, things should go as per our plans, but if they don't, we still have some buffer period. So ensure that you kind of try to stick to it. But if you're taking maybe some time more or less here or there, this should really kind of help you. Again, a few important tips that you should remember before your exams. At this point, if you should prepare from the material that you have. Do not at any cost refer anything new. What is done is done. This is a point where you consolidate your strengths and not freak over your weaknesses. You focus on what you have done well and do it so well that you can crack the exams. If you refer anything new, it takes a lot of time to absorb, maybe affects your confidence. This is not the point where you should do that. There's no point writing a test at this point. If you're planning to do that, you can probably plan your papers over here, that how will you use your time. However, writing a test at this point may be a little too late, and if you have the time at the end, then you can think of it, not otherwise. If you have done the RTPs earlier and you want to revise it again, you can do that. But having said that, probably not picking up anything new, which is what I would suggest, because largely your matter will come from the content that is there over here. When you are doing everything, there will be instances where you will feel that you don't remember everything. How will you be able to reproduce? Don't worry, it is fairly normal. Ensure that you keep the momentum going. Don't stop or halt at any point of time. For a student who is giving probably the CA intermediate exams for the first time, this is quite intimidating. However, remember, you have a huge margin of error. I'm not saying you go wrong, but you have a huge margin of error. You have to score maybe 40, let's say 50. In advanced accounts, we will target 60 plus for sure. But well, if there is a difficult paper, remember, you can go wrong every alternate question and still pass. You need to get 50 on an average for passing. So difficult paper does not mean that you necessarily fail. You will have enough opportunities to score those marks in the exam. So ensure that you write the entire paper. As you say in cricket, we need to play all the 50 overs, 20 overs, whatever it is. But ensure that you focus on writing the paper. Keep your focus on every question, every mark as they come, and ensure that the time that you have now, you use it judiciously and nothing can stop you scoring 60, 70, who knows, even 80 plus, okay? So we're all there cheering for you, but put in the efforts, put in the hours now, and get your good night's sleep as well, okay? So see you soon. Good luck, goodbye, and take care.